Hello everyone! If you try to figure out where the year 2100 already exists today, your eyes inevitably turn to China. There, the future doesn't look like a fantasy. It is woven into everyday life and operates without pause. Urban environments think faster than people, digital systems connect everything into a single seamless flow, and the familiar rules of daily life are gradually dissolving into a new logic. Here, technology doesn't merely enhance reality, it creates it from the ground up. And the deeper you look, the stronger the feeling becomes that the timeline we are used to simply no longer matches what is actually happening. Facial recognition in China has reached a national scale. Billions of cameras are connected through unified networks capable of locating individuals within minutes, sometimes even seconds. Criminals can be identified through fragments of information such as their gait, silhouette, or travel patterns. Yet the same system can also save lives. Missing children are found faster, accidents are detected instantly, and emergency services can respond before a call is even made. China has already integrated these technologies into daily life, but the debate continues. The line between security and surveillance grows thinner, making this one of the defining questions of the future. In some Chinese schools, AI analyzes attention levels, reaction speed, and even subtle facial expressions to identify when a student loses focus. Education is no longer one-size-fits-all. Learning programs adapt to each individual, accelerating advanced students while helping struggling learners catch up in real time. The result is often faster and more efficient learning than traditional methods can provide. However, there is another side to this system. Constant monitoring can create pressure as mistakes are detected immediately. China has already implemented such technologies on a large scale, with fully adaptive schools likely to become the next step, where human teachers serve more as mentors than primary instructors. The digital yuan is a currency that can be programmed. It can be given an expiration date, restricted to certain categories of purchases, or directed toward specific purposes. China is already testing scenarios where government payments are designed to stimulate the economy with precision. For example, funds that must be spent within a week or they disappear. Every transaction is recorded instantly, reducing gray market activity and increasing transparency. In this model, money becomes not just a medium of exchange, but a tool of economic management. If scaled further, it could fundamentally reshape how people think about saving and spending. While some countries are still discussing the transition to clean energy, China is building it on an industrial scale. Massive solar installations in deserts generate gigawatts of electricity compared to large power plants, while wind farms stretch far beyond the horizon. Floating solar stations are even being deployed on flooded mining sites, turning unused land into productive energy sources. China is already a leader not in promises, but in numbers, adding more renewable capacity each year than some nations achieve in decades. At the same time, large-scale energy storage companies are advancing to address the challenge of intermittent power generation. In Chinese megacities, traffic lights no longer simply change colors, they think. Algorithms redistribute traffic flows every fraction of a second, reducing congestion to levels that many other countries only discuss in reports. Here, cameras are not just observers, but analysts. They monitor driving behavior, driver fatigue, and even subtle weather changes to predict accidents before a driver even touches the brakes. And this is only the beginning. China is already testing AI systems capable of autonomously managing entire districts without human intervention. China has already moved beyond smartphones. Payments through palm vein recognition, facial recognition, and voice identification are becoming increasingly common, with systems achieving remarkably low error rates. Cash is disappearing not because it's been banned, but because it's become irrelevant in an economy where speed and transparency outweigh old habits. Every transaction is analyzed in real time, creating a digital profile that can influence loans, insurance, and even access to city services. China is already moving further, testing fully autonomous AI-powered financial systems. In China, AI systems already analyze X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs with accuracy comparable to experienced specialists, often delivering results much faster. Telemedicine platforms allow patients to consult doctors from leading medical centers while being thousands of kilometers away, transforming healthcare access in remote regions. Services such as Ping and Good Doctor support millions of users every day. Access to medical care is expanding, and waiting times are decreasing. Yet a new question emerges. If an algorithm makes a mistake, who is ultimately responsible? The human expert or the system itself? You step onto a train, and it feels as if space itself has been compressed. In China, maglev trains already reach speeds of 600 kilometers per hour, while experimental projects aim for 800 kilometers per hour and beyond, turning the distance between megacities into a mere technicality. Travel between Beijing and Shanghai is steadily approaching the convenience of a typical subway commute, not as science fiction, but as a logical extension of China's transportation strategy. China is not catching up. It is building infrastructure decades ahead of demand, including dedicated ultra-high-speed lines, advanced rail materials, and even vacuum tunnel experiments. China has largely moved beyond horizontal expansion. Modern skyscrapers are evolving into vertical ecosystems containing apartments, offices, schools, shops, and even parks within a single structure. Elevated walkways connecting towers create streets in the sky, allowing people to move between buildings without returning to ground level. Density is treated not as a problem, but as an asset, reducing travel times, lowering pressure on transportation networks, and increasing urban efficiency. China is already experimenting with these concepts, laying the foundation for future megacities where every square meter is optimized. Imagine watching an entire floor of a building appear overnight, a structural frame completed within a week, or a bridge open to traffic just days after construction begins. China has embraced modular construction on a massive scale. Buildings are assembled from prefabricated components that already contain essential systems and infrastructure. This dramatically shortens construction timelines while reducing errors on site. Individuality may sometimes give way to standardization, but the result is extraordinary speed, scalability, and quality control. New districts, perfect roads, illuminated skyscrapers, yet almost no people. China does not build for an uncertain future, it builds according to a long-term plan. The government manages urban development like a complex chess game, using subsidies, job relocation programs, universities, and technology parks to attract residents. A district that seems empty today may welcome tens of thousands of professionals tomorrow. This has already happened in several places once labeled as ghost cities, which later transformed into thriving metropolitan areas. Now China is taking things further by designing urban zones specifically for future technologies and lifestyles. You enter a factory and find almost no workers, yet production is running at full speed. China already operates fully automated manufacturing facilities where robots assemble products, inspect quality, and even maintain one another without interrupting production lines. Cameras and sensors monitor equipment wear in real time, preventing breakdowns before they occur. These factories operate around the clock, unaffected by fatigue or human error, dramatically increasing productivity. China is not merely introducing automation, it is fundamentally redesigning its entire industrial system around it. China is no longer transitioning to electric vehicles, it's already living in an electric future. It is the world's largest EV market, producing and selling millions of vehicles every year, while companies such as BYD and NIO help set the pace for the entire industry. Charging is becoming yesterday's solution. Battery swapping stations allow drivers to refuel in just 3 to 5 minutes, often faster than buying a cup of coffee. Government subsidies and restrictions on gasoline-powered vehicles in major cities continue to accelerate adoption. The key difference is that the infrastructure has already been built for long-term growth, making a return to traditional engines increasingly unlikely. Imagine a world where your everyday actions are translated into scores that influence how many opportunities are available to you. In China, the concept of a social credit system exists, but reality is far more complex than the myths surrounding it. Rather than one universal score, there are numerous local systems and pilot projects. In some cases, reliable behavior can provide faster access to loans or services. In others, violations may result in restrictions such as limits on purchasing tickets. There are rewards as well, including benefits, simplified procedures, and priority access to services. China continues to experiment with a model where trust becomes a measurable resource. Vertical farming has already become part of China's urban infrastructure. Multi-level agricultural facilities with precisely controlled lighting, water, and nutrients produce crops year-round. At the same time, cultivated meat technologies are advancing, allowing food to be produced without traditional livestock farming and reducing pressure on natural resources. AI oversees quality control at every stage, from seed to finished meal. For a nation of more than 1 billion people, this is not an experiment, it is a strategy for sustainability and long-term food security. China has built its own digital reality. Instead of Google, it has domestic search platforms. Instead of YouTube, it has its own video giants. And WeChat alone replaces a large portion of daily life, handling everything from messaging to banking and government services. The Great Firewall is more than a barrier, it is also a mechanism for nurturing a self-contained digital ecosystem. While Western services are often fragmented, Chinese super apps combine multiple functions within a single interface, saving time while collecting data to optimize user experiences. Today, China is already testing the next evolution, platforms where AI is not just a feature, but the foundation of the entire digital environment. China is rapidly expanding its presence in space through projects such as the Tiangong space station, while simultaneously supporting private aerospace companies. Launches are becoming more frequent, and technologies are becoming more affordable and accessible. The focus is no longer symbolic prestige, but practical value. Satellites provide communication, navigation, and resource monitoring services that support economic growth. Long-term discussions even include the possibility of mining resources beyond Earth. China increasingly views space as an extension of infrastructure where every mission is considered an investment rather than a demonstration. One tap can handle half of your daily tasks without switching between services. China has pushed the super app concept to its limits. Platforms like WeChat and Alipay combine payments, transportation, delivery services, medical appointments, loans, and professional tools within a single interface. Users save time while the system gains valuable data that allows services to adapt almost instantly to individual needs. This creates a different digital rhythm of life, one with fewer interruptions, fewer apps, and far less friction. Imagine thinking about buying something, and the product is already on its way to you. AI-powered warehouses analyze billions of orders and position goods closer to potential customers before purchases are even made. Delivery robots confidently navigate sidewalks, while drones transport packages to remote villages. Some companies have reduced delivery times to just 10 to 30 minutes in major cities. This is no longer a convenience, but a new standard. China has built a system where speed is a form of currency, and the next step is already approaching: fully autonomous supply chains that operate without human involvement from purchase to delivery. China operates with planning horizons measured in decades. 5-year plans are only one layer of broader strategies extending 20 to 50 years into the future. Investments in artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and space technologies are coordinated as part of a larger ecosystem in which each sector strengthens the others. Companies such as Huawei compete in advanced chip development, while the government funds fundamental scientific research and rapidly integrates successful innovations into the economy. A defining characteristic of this approach is that decisions are often based on forecasts and long-term models rather than short-term reactions. China has not simply accelerated its development, It has changed the underlying logic of progress itself. Technology, government, and the economy increasingly function as parts of a single interconnected system. The future here does not feel like an experiment. It's already been woven into everyday life and deployed at a scale of millions of people. And that is what makes the contrast so striking. While many are still preparing for the future, China is already living in the next version of reality.